As I've gotten more into 3D printing, I have developed a bit of a filament problem where I just have filament for days and I need to do something about storing it properly. Alright, so here we are in Onshape and we're going to go through and quickly try to figure out exactly what this thing is going to be. I don't really know. I'm going to start off with just a vertical line coming up and a vertical line coming over. Again, I don't know anything about those yet. We just need to figure out where the stuff's going. I'm going to put something on this line. I want it to come over to there. And then we'll have another one over here. And I'll hit E for equals, and I'll set these two as the same size. These are going to be actual holes in the part eventually, and I'm going to have them be 0.8. The diameter of the dowel is 0.75, but some of them are actually a little bigger because it's relatively humid out right now, so the wood grows and contracts. So I want to have something that can stand up to all of that. Now my next decision that I need to make is if I want to have these things be closed in or have an open top or anything. And I'm leaning towards keeping them closed in. So I'm going to dimension between these here 0.25 and then dimension between the centers or the edges here. So from this edge to there, I want that to be about 5 inches. According to my testing when I measured stuff up, that seemed to be a nice workable solution for what we had. That means this I also want to be 5 inches, so it's relatively square. And then I'm going to draw a line from here somewhere down here, and then that's going to transition over and that. The reason why I want to do that is because if this is going to be fully enclosed, I can make this tangent on there, and then I want to have a spot for screw holes to go in down here so I can punch that into the 2x3 that's supporting everything. So we'll tangent this to that. Okay. Then I'm going to dimension here. I want this to be probably about 1 inch tall, and this needs to be probably 3/8. All right, that looks good. And then we're just going to make another line up here, coming over and down, and then we can dimension on this. This one is also going to be 3/8, and this guy here is going to be 1 inch tall. So that's going to give me all of the space I need to make this work. Now I'm going to use the trim tool. So little scissors up here are the letter M. I want to get rid of all of the stuff that I don't actually need to keep. So we're going to get rid of that, get rid of this and this. We'll get rid of the inside of that. Not that it really matters, but I just want to get rid of some of the stuff that I don't need anymore to be able to make this thing a functional part. So get rid of all of that stuff, all of that. And I think that should be what we need. So now when I go to extrude, I'll select all of that space. And let's see, we're going to, oh, not sketch, extrude. We're going to go extrude this. And we're going to say we just only need to extrude just a 1/2 inch, I think. That's all it really needs. We're going to punch some holes and do some more work inside of here. But I just wanted to kind of get a layout in general of what this is going to look like. We're going to add some fillets and all that kind of stuff here. So let's start with the fillets before we start punching anything out. We're going to do... what does a 1/2 inch fillet look like? I think that will be fine. I'm going to put another one down there. And basically these fillets are going to serve as structural joints. This little area here is much thicker than what it was before. It should help it stand up a little better to what we need to do. We're also going to punch some holes in here. So I'm going to go into the right view. We'll get our points on there. And then we will center those up with what the area that we have remaining. So we have one there and one there. And then we can dimension between here and there of 0.25. That locks that one into place. And between here and there, 0.25, it will lock that into place. And then we'll go to the hole tool. We'll select both of these. They need to be, let's see, I want it to be countersink. That's a rather large countersink, but that may be what we need. I don't know if we need to be that big or not. I didn't really take measurements of my stuff yet, but that's going to be what it is for now. If it needs to be changed, we will figure that out down the road. I'm also going to fillet these guys here, that and that, 0.25, there and there, 0.25. I'm a little concerned about how thin some of these areas are. So it's not thin farther down, but up top it's a little thin. So I have to go back and remeasure those, but that'll be down the road here. Now what we need to do, we're going to go and sketch in here. I'm going to re-put those circles back in place. So I'm just going to put these out to there. And those were 0.8 plus 0.25. Nope. 0.8 plus 0.25, wasn't it? What is the measurement on that? So we go over to measure and click on that radius. Should tell us what it is. it tells us it's 0.65. So 0.65 times 2, because that was a radius, not a diameter. And we'll do the same thing over here, 0.65 times 2. And the idea here is we're going to need to remove stuff inside of here, potentially, or just kind of get some strength stuff in here. So I'm going to start off with not all that. I'm going to start with a line that's kind of going from where that's at, down and up. And then we're going to make sure that these are parallel with each other. So we'll find our parallel constraint, which is B for some reason. And we'll make sure those are all set to be parallel. We'll dimension between them. I'm going to go with 3/8 since that kind of is going to be what our standard thickness is for all of this. All right. And then we're going to have a line coming over here like so. And I want that to actually be horizontal. So I'm going to undo that, take a line from here, bring it straight out like that. Okay. Then I can bring my trim tool in and clean some of this up just a touch. Get that cleaned up. We actually don't need that anymore, but I'm going to keep it there. And then I need to extend this line just a bit. So I'm just going to drag it, click on that point and drag it up if it lets me. If it doesn't let me, that's not a big deal because I can just drop another line directly in there and going straight up. There we go. Okay, so that's on there. We have all of that set. And I'm going to cut this away, but I do also want a dimension between here and there. And I want that to be 3/8 as well. Now that's going to throw it for a loop because of this guy right there, which is fine. We will come back and play with that a little bit more in just a bit. And then I'm going to add a little area here that's going to be perpendicular to some of these spots. And then we'll do it again down here. So do that and have that come up. And then we're going to hit those to be parallel with each other. So boom and boom, boom and boom, boom and boom. And then we'll make sure they're all perpendicular to that line, which there we go. Then we'll dimension these between there of 3/8. And we'll do the same thing with this one of 3/8. And then we're going to figure out how far we want that area to be. So let's say it's 1.5. And then if we can move that one over as well, 1.5. Okay, and then the space between those should be pretty close to 1.5. It's 1.36. That's fine. We'll finish our sketch. Then we can extrude this, this, and this. Remove distance, and we're just going to set that through all. And basically, these are just there to add some version of strength. It's not going to make it very strong, but it's just going to make it a little bit stronger. It's also going to use slightly less material. Now, the discussion here is, yes, it will use a little bit less material, but because there's so many more outer walls now than if it were solid, it's actually not going to use up much less material. So just keep that in mind. And we have all of that there. And I think that's going to be relatively strong. The only thing I have concerns with is the size of the screws, which I need to measure and figure out if that's an appropriate size or not. So right now, if we edit that and take a look, it's a drilled hole. It's actually not going to, it's going to be a through all hole. So it's not blind. It is through all. And then I just need to find one of the screws I'm going to use, measure its diameter, and see if it's correct. So I'm going to go grab my dollar calipers and test that out real fast, and I'll be right back. And after a very quick check, it's showing that the threads on my wood screws there are only really measuring 0.14 in diameter. So that means this number here, if that, can get dumped down a whole bunch. I'm going to probably make it 0.175 to give ourselves just a little bit of breathing room. But you can see how that's going to thicken that whole area up just a touch, hopefully enough for us to have that set. And there, that looks better. So we're going to print this out and see what it does. This is going to be really a test print to see if this works for us. So we're going to print 2 of them. We'll see what the timing is on it and what's going on with it. All right, so I've called this Filament Rack Mount version 1. I'm going to have it print out here, and first thing I need to do is I'm going to hit F and lay it down on its side so that it prints like so, not standing up. If I were to design this differently in the future, I'd probably do this so it doesn't come down there, but I can lay this edge flat and can build vertically up. I think that would be a lot better. I'm I want to copy it and paste it and then select all and hit auto layout or auto orient, and we'll see if it lets it do it. Nope, doesn't want to let me do that. So let's try rotating this here. We're going to take the blue, which is Z, and rotate it 180. There we go. And now I should be able to select both those and move them onto the plate. And it's just going to be a matter of getting them kind of shuffled in there nice and tight. But you can see that I can fit two of them on the build plate very easily. They should print on there without any real issue, and I'm hoping that this will work out. So we're going to slice that plate up real fast. I'm not going to change much about this. It's only a 2-hour print, which is phenomenal. I love the Flash Forward Adventure, but I am going to go over to strength. We're going to change the wall loops to 3. We're going to leave the infill at 15 because it honestly doesn't really matter. But I do want to change that instead of being sparse, or excuse me, crosshatch, to, let's go with triangles, just so it resists stuff in the proper way. We'll slice that up. It should increase our print time quite a bit. And somehow it dropped our print time. I don't know how that works, but it did what it's supposed to do. So now we're going to get this over to the printer and print out. I calculated I probably need about 6 of these total. So 3 total prints with 2 on each. And then I'll be able to have 3 sets of my racks, and we'll see if that works. Here are the printed parts. I have a total of 6 of them. I'm a little concerned about where the screws are going to go. That's a little tighter than what I'd probably like to have. But I'm really happy. They feel strong and they feel pretty solid with everything that I need to do for them. So we're going to go ahead and get these attached. And these are the rods that are going through here. They're like $1 or $2 at one of the big box stores. And I can cut them in half and have it. So I put one in, got it leveled up. They feel nice and secure. And then what I did was put the rails in, leveled them, and then was able to secure the other side in there. So I have a nice even level rack. Depending on how much you push down or not, you can throw it out of level very easily. I also made sure it's square up and down as well as vertically, so that we're good in all of those. And you can see that we just punch it over a little bit and get it in there. And then I just used a little ID card that I had to use as a spacer, and they are all attached here. So this is the 3 racks with the bars cut, slit in. It's not a perfect setup by any means, and the legs get away a little bit, but overall it feels shockingly secure for what it is. And I did split one of these, so I may have to reprint that, but we'll see if it holds weight. That one, where it's split, it should be fine. And here it is in all of its glory. It is all set, ready to go, loaded up with filament that I'm very happy with. You can see those are all of the boxes I was able to unload, and now I have space for another printer. We'll talk about that later. Bye-bye.